Welcome to the Limitless Entrepreneur Podcast, your weekly dose of strategies and mindset tools to build a business in alignment with your purpose and get you playing a bigger game. I'm your host, Nicole Lano. Hello and welcome to the Limitless Entrepreneur Podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Nicole Lano, and we're here with another episode. We are going to be, it's just you and me today. I want to give you guys in this episode a real clear picture of exactly what human design can be used for. Because we talk about human design obviously a lot on this show. And I know so many of you are interested in this. You're either practicing it or you're thinking about it or you're dipping your toe in the water. And I understand that, first of all, I believe, and it's been my experience with the dozens of people that I've worked with on this. I think we're approaching like 70 people or something who have come into my world, well, more if I'm counting readings, who've come into my world to work with on human design with me. That I've seen this at work and the impact that it can have, and I want to make sure that's clear to you. Because I know how these things can be taken. Sometimes people think that human design is like a personality test, which there's an element of that feels like a personality test. It's not subjective, and it's much more of a process that it gives you. A lot of personality tests, it's like, okay, that's cool. What do I do with this now? Is usually the question that we're left with. So human design actually gives you a process to follow. It actually tells you, okay, here you are. This is who you are. Now, this is how you're going to use this in your life. This is how you can use it to make an impact on you and everybody that you know. As opposed to it being like, oh, I'm an INTJ or whatever, and whatever that means to me. So like, oh, I'm an introvert. And then that sort of becomes an excuse. And that is not what human design is. It is not an excuse to be less of something. It is your permission to be everything that you are. And it gives you a process to support that. Meditation is this beautiful practice that I have been practicing for over 10 years. I have been a daily meditator for over 10 years. It is irreplaceable in my life. There is no way you will ever get me to give up on meditation. Why? Because I've seen how much space it creates in my mind, in my energy. It clears me. But during the day, I can't just meditate. I can't meditate all day. I have to get things done. It's not servicing my life moment to moment. It's having a big impact that's over and broadly reaching because it affects how I enter into my day, which is why I do it every morning. And I do it at another session in the afternoon. But the moment to moment, how I'm running my business, it's not going to be like on meditation. So some of these, there's lots of energetic practices. There's lots of these, like, I want you to understand that there's a bit of the woo-woo spiritual side of human design, but it is much more practical. And me being a 5-1 manifesting generator, 5-1, I'm about making things practical. I don't think about anything. I don't spend my time doing anything if there's not a practical application to it, because that's just how I'm built. And I've always been that way, which that is hugely freeing for me because I don't have to apologize. Like, oh, I'm always just talking about how you can use things. And I'm not talking about the depth of it all the time. I want you to know how to use it. That's my genius. That's what I do. So I universalize information. I universalize systems. I take it, I embody it, I figure out how I can use it in new and innovative ways that make it easier and more efficient for people to both understand and use, and then I share it. That's my jam as a 5-1. And that's what this episode is about. I want you to see how practically you can apply human design in all the ways in your life that it can change things for the better. For you and your family and your team and your colleagues and the people that you interact with. Okay, so I want to show you that in this episode. That is my goal with this episode. Now, just a few little news things. I want to let you know that we have a contest running. If you leave a review on iTunes, if you'd like to, well, let me tell you what the prize is first. The prize for this contest is that you could win a free human design reading or human design coaching session on this show with me. You get to come on the show, be a guest on the show, plug your business, get yourself some visibility here out on my podcast. You can and get broadcast to our entire audience. And you also get to have a deep dive of one-on-one time with me, going through your human design, and whatever you want to share on the show, whatever you want coaching on the show for, you can come. It's your time to use. So if you want to win that, all you have to do is go to iTunes, leave us a glowing review telling everybody why you love the show, what you love about it, and how much you love it. And then take a screenshot of that review, post it into your Instagram stories, and then tag me. I'm at Nicole Lano Official. And that's your entry. You're done. My team will pull that down. We will save it. When we pull the entries, when we pull the winner, we will let you know if you won. And we'll reach out to you and let you know how you can book your interview and how we can get you on the show. And that would be super, super exciting. I would love to have you on. Now, the other things that we have 2 free guides, human design guides, that will help you start to have practical application of this information. So how you can use human design to start experiencing transformation, more inward transformation, which leads to external results. So that's our deconditioning guide. If you're interested in that, you can go to nicolelano.me/decondition. That's a lot of that's a free guide on how you can start to live more in alignment, less in the way that you were taught, less in the way of shoulds, and into the alignment of who you really are and hitting the gas on all of your strengths. So that's that guide. And then we have another one, which is called the Flowductivity Guide. Now, this is how you can be more productive, but still remain in flow. How you can experience more expansion in space while getting more done. If you're interested in that guide, you can get it at nicolelano.me/productivity. And we'll link all of this up in the show notes for you. The contest, the deconditioning guide, the Flowductivity guide, all of those links will be in the show notes. If you need them, just hop on over there and we will magically transport you to all of those landing pages. Okay, now let's get to the episode. Now, one last thing. We are going to have a masterclass coming up. I believe it's March 8th that we are going to have coming up. You will start to see some information about that coming up. Mark your calendars. You're going to want to be there for this one. If this episode interests you, this is going to be something that you're going to really want, because it's going to be a deep dive into the things that we're talking about here. Basically, how you can make more money using human design without adding hours to your day or workload to your schedule. Okay. It's going to be hugely impactful. I'm going to share a lot in that. Okay. Now let's get to the practical applications of human design. Now, human design, I'm going to go through a list of all the things that you can use it for. I'm going to tell you how you can take this information and how you can start, like, exactly what the result will be for you. This will result in X. Okay. And we're going to start with your life, and then we're going to move on to your business. Some of these are interchangeable. You're going to see some aspects of things that, I'm going to talk about some, and it's going to be like, this is obviously, there's a big benefit to your life, but, this is a business show. We do cater to the entrepreneurial industry here. So a lot of this is going to be geared toward business, but there's so much of it that's going to be like, oh, I see how I could apply this to my life. Now, we're going to start with the life ones, and then we'll get to the business, because the business list is longer. So your life, how you can benefit, how you can use human design in your life. If you're learning about your design, you're inherently learning about design in general. You're inherently learning about that, if what defined centers are and open centers are, how we experience them, what the experience of having a defined G center versus having an open G center. We understand these things. So as you're understanding that, you can understand other people better. So what this leads to, so one of the big practical applications of this is by you learning your human design and diving into human design, you can start to parent by design. So if you're a mom or a dad, you can start to, and it doesn't matter how old your kids are, the younger the better, because you're starting them earlier. But you can start, without having to explain it to them, you can start to see who they are through their chart. You can start parenting the child with total honor for who they are, rather than what's convenient for you or what you think is right, because that's what conditioned you in the first place. And that's what you're doing all the deconditioning work for, is to unwind all the things that, our parents made us feel, usually with the best intentions. They didn't mean to condition us. They weren't like, I know that this isn't the way you are, but I'm going to force you into it. It's the way they are. It's the way they naturally are. So they looked at you being like, you should be able to do this do it. Here's what you're doing wrong. They don't know that maybe that's not the way that you're designed. And it was actually destructive to push you in that way on that thing. You get to be different. So parenting by design, life-changing. I have a 5-year-old. I understand his design. I understand him. I know how to build him up. He's a 5'1" like me. So I'm able to look at him and understand how I can create the most supportive environment for what is kind of a difficult profile, an interesting, complex profile to have. And I will be able to understand some of the things that he deals with and see things through that lens. I mean, I have the benefit of being that, so I understand it. However, there's so many other aspects of his design that are different than mine. Honestly, the rest of it's different. He's a splenic projector. So even knowing that, what his energy levels are like, how to support him in that, how to support him in school, how to speak to his teachers, how they can get the best out of him, how they can communicate with him best. It is life-changing for you and your kids. It'll create a much more harmonious environment, not only with your children, but the next one is compassion for others. Now, compassion for others, that your spouse, your partner, your family. Human design allows you to see people for who they are rather than who you wished they could be. And one of the gifts of human design is also recognizing that there is no wrong or right. There is no bad, good. There's low frequency and there's high frequency. That someone being a certain way, first of all, isn't personal to you. You could start seeing it as it's not that they were bad to you, it's that they're at a low frequency of something that they are. And that's just that the way that they're acting is just an artifact of either emotional trauma or through human design, through just a low expression of something that actually could be great. So it allows you to see the potential in others. It allows you to see and not take personally the way that they are. And if you listen to my Prince Harry episode that I did 2 episodes ago, I think it was episode number 135, the Prince Harry episode, I talk about the family dynamics, and I talk about how, it sounds like from his book, how he was feeling like his brother didn't really, he shied away from him, that they weren't as close as they once were, that he felt like there was this wall between them. And one of the things is that William's profile is a 2-5, and they can be somewhat reclusive. There's also, he's dealing with 2 projections there. One being looking into the 2 and seeing William for all that he is. And then the 5, which is seeing what you want him to be or how he's lacking it, putting him up on a pedestal and maybe seeing how he's not living up to an expectation that you have. So some of those things that Harry naturally felt, if he knew about how William was built, maybe, I don't know, but the potential is there, that he might not have seen it as such an affront to him and just seen it that, oh, that's just the way he's designed. It's not him being that way to me. He might have could approach the relationship differently. So it allows you to have more compassion for others and see them for who they are. In life, you feel better. Knowing your design, knowing who you are, knowing your purpose, knowing what you're here to do, who you're here to be, and who you're here not to be, and to stop pouring energy into that, allows you to stand up for yourself, allows you to have just greater confidence overall, and feel free. To feel free, totally free. What other people say about you has less of an effect on you. 1, because you're looking at it not like you're taking it all personally. And 2, things just roll off of you a little bit easier. And 2, because you're not being triggered, because you're clear. You're emotionally more aligned. You're energetically more aligned. And that just creates space. Now, moving on to business. So those are the key life benefits. Moving on to business, moving on to how you can use this in your business, because I know so many of you are wondering, okay, if I invest in human design, what am I going to get out of this? And it can seem a little bit fluffy, right? Like, what am I really going to get out of it? Is it just like, oh, my conscious sun is my brand? Like, I know that. I read that on Instagram. Sure, you have to dig into it a little bit deeper than that, a lot deeper. There's obviously a lot more work to do in there to really have that work for you. But I want to show you exactly what is on the other side of when you start the journey of human design through your business. So for people who feel like they are doing all the things, but not getting the results, maybe you don't feel like you're getting as much done or you're as productive as the hours you're spending feel like you should be. If I'm spending this many hours, I feel like more should be done. I feel like I should be further along. I feel like I should be getting more done, or I feel like I should be getting more money if I'm doing all of this work. Well, human design can help you really discern what are the correct things for you to do and what are not, and how to get yourself into gear faster. If you find that you sputter, where it takes you a while to get going, or it takes you stare at a blank screen when you go to write content, or you don't know where to start, you don't know what the correct things are for you to prioritize. It just makes you productive overall, because what it's doing is it is allowing you to use your design. So as a manifesting generator, I have a way of operating that I don't waste time anymore. I don't sit and futz around. I'm either nurturing myself in a very specific way to my type and authority, or I am wildly productive and working. Otherwise, you will find me I'm just enjoying myself. So it makes you more productive while creating more space, not more work. The other thing that it does that you'll see in your business is it's easier to make big moves. It's easier. You hear this in business a lot. You have to make big moves. You have to take these big leaps. And yeah, yes and no. You have to take big leaps. You have to take chances. You have to step outside of your comfort zone, but not just for the sake of stepping out of your comfort zone or making a big move. That's the not self. That's you hearing a message of I need to make big moves, and then that person conveniently selling you a high ticket program that feels like a big move, and you making it, but you're doing it because you were told to. You're doing it because of a feeling of lack, not because it was truly in alignment for you. Human design helps you discern what big moves are correct for you. You're so emotionally clear, you are so aligned, and you have so much trust in yourself because you have your process. This, I cannot stress this enough. I have a whole workshop. There's a 3-part workshop. If you're interested in it, it's on my website. It's called Trust. Trust is the key element in any entrepreneurial business. If you don't have trust, you are in trouble. You will spend a lot of money. You will spend a lot of time. You will have a lot of heartache. Trust me, I've been there. If you don't have trust in yourself, you're just going to be doomed to, usually it ends up in a lot of overspending and a lot of shiny object syndrome, because you're looking for the answers outside of yourself. And that can be an element of your human design that's causing you might be more predisposed to that. But trust in yourself it's not negotiable. You need to have trust in yourself, and you will notice that everything in your business changes when you do. You won't need to know if you have trust. You're just going to start to see results. So big moves come when you have trust in yourself, and you get trust in yourself because human design gives you an aligned process, a process to make aligned decisions and a strategy. So what do I mean by that? I mean that trust in yourself comes from the ability to discern whether something is correct for you or not. When you are so grounded in that, so someone comes to you for something, they offer you something, they offer you a product, they offer to join your team, they tell you they can build you a funnel, they tell you that they can run your back office. And these are all things that you want, or things that you have on your list that you need. But is it right for you? Are you in the right energy? Are you making this right move at the right time? Are you making this investment at the right time? Because big moves usually correlate with big investment, either of time, resources, or otherwise, or money. But when you have a process to make your decisions, now, if you're a projector, you know that invitations are going to be the way that things are coming to you. And then you have your authority that's helping you make those decisions and decide, is this the correct invitation for me or not? Generators, manifesting generators, we're responding. We're responding to things. We're picking up the breadcrumbs. We're moving. So when we get an idea about something and we think we have a sacral response and we just do it and it doesn't work, that's not really alignment. That's probably what got you to bad investments, bad investment of your resources, your time, your energy, and your money. It probably got you to this point of feeling plateaued or stuck in the first place. The way you change it is when you start to see that. And that's what human design does. It gets you to see where you've made mistakes before. It's not meant to be dogmatic. It's meant to be empowering. And that's the way I teach it versus some of the dogmatic teaching that's out there for human design. You can't do this or you can't do that. You could do anything you want. It's, do you feel empowered by the move? And that's what we help you discern. But when you're making decisions, this is how you're not at the mercy of people's branding. This is how, and their marketing. This is how you're not at the mercy of being sold to. You are not only an informed consumer, you are a powerful, empowered, informed consumer, where you're able to very powerfully stand there, listen to somebody's pitch and say, okay, I will get back to you, or no, this isn't right for me, or I'm a hell yes, we're in, let's do this. And then you take the move, you take the step in total strength and power. This is life-changing, it's game-changing. And this is how things start to change. This is how the same investment made in fear that doesn't get you the result, you're making it in total confidence in yourself. So that's a cornerstone of your business that human design takes care of for you. Branding. Yes, it does help you with your brand. It does help you decide things like lead generation strategy. What's the right platform for you to be on? What's the right way for you to connect with leads? What's the right way, and not right or wrong, but what's the way that's going to be the most efficient use of your energy? What's the way that you are, I refer to this sort of as the attraction equation. What's the best way for you to attract? What is the best method for you to use to connect with an audience? And what platforms can you use? There are lots of factors. Do you have a defined throat center? Do you have an open throat center? Are you a generator? Are you a projector? What is your profile line? We take all of this into consideration to figure out what that attraction equation is for you. And then what are key factors of your brand? If you listen to Kim's episode, it was a while back. She did, how Kim made 10K in 5 days. And we talk about how we used her gene keys and we used her human design to kind of rebrand. And we didn't even get deep into it. We just made some tweaks. That gave her some ideas. She responded. She moved, waited out her wave. She moved on it. And then she was able to put together this awesome retreat where she made 10K in 5 days. That was even just the tip of the iceberg for her. The work that we've done with her since has like blown up and changed so much for her. And that's totally through human design and through her being empowered through her design and leaning into the strengths of her specific design. So it can do that for your branding. So if you're confused about your brand or you feel like you don't stand out, then human design can help figure out what are your key aspects that will differentiate you in the marketplace, that will help position you as the expert and position you with strength. It helps you find your X factor. Like that's kind of how I refer to this, your voice, your unique quality. You're seeing me do this podcast, the way I structure these episodes, the voice of my brand, the practical way that I approach things, the way that I speak. I used to be afraid. I had a coach tell me once that I was too direct in the way that I was speaking, that I sounded bossy, that I sounded that I sounded like I was telling people what to do. And she was coming from her perspective. But at the time in my career, I took what a coach told me very seriously. And I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't be that, because I didn't have my process, because I didn't know what was correct for me, because I didn't know what my strengths were. I was just like, she's the expert. I hired her, so she must be right. I'm doing it wrong. And you know what? My sales started to tank. I lost a lot of my confidence. You know why? Because that's exactly who I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to tell people what to do. And if it's not right for you, then I'm not right for you, and that's okay. But that is part of my X factor. And she was taking it away. So, and not her fault. She didn't know what she was doing, but I coach people differently. And this is part of what human design can show for you. How you can develop your very specific voice, how you can be completely empowered in it and 100% into this is who I am, this is what I have to offer, and you're for me or you're not, and either is fine. It can show your primary shadow patterns. This is a huge key factor for me and how I work with people, and how this shows up. If you find that you are stuck, if you find that you have plateaued, if you find that this does sort of fall under the, like, I'm doing all the things and it's not working. If you feel like your revenue is not where you want it to be and you feel stuck, or if you have money mindset problems, you see them as money mindset problems, usually we can find it in your primary shadow pattern. Your primary shadow patterns are key elements of your chart that show you where you are veering off course, that are most likely patterns in your life. It didn't just happen once. They happen repeatedly. They happen, and they're sneaky, they're subtle, but we can start to call them out and to start to bring them into the light. And rapid change comes from that. And it's not just rapid change, it's sustainable change. And it tells us what our next moves are. So that's how, if you feel like you are stuck and you don't know why, or you feel like you have energetic blocks, primary shadow patterns, that's kind of a method that I use, can help to pull those out and where those might be showing up for you. If you find that you are burned out, you have been working a lot, maybe you're a one-woman show or you have a small team, and you're feeling like, I've made it to the 6-figure mark, but making it to multiple 6 feels impossible because I'm tapped out already. I'm already burnt out. Or maybe you're not at that 6-figure mark and you've just created so many offers and you've thrown so many things at the wall and you've tried to make so many different aspects of your business work and they're not quite there. So you're tired and it's making the goals that you have seem like they are not possible. If that's the case, then human design sort of shows you where you're making those key mistakes that are keeping you where you're at. And it can call out and show you, one, how to take care of yourself, because it's inherent in your design. You can't just go all the time. Nobody's meant to do that. And it does, so as a generator, it does kind of, it shows you how to do the things that people tell you to do that maybe you're not doing. Like, not just self-care like a bubble bath because it's scheduled on the calendar and you are supposed to do it, but listening to yourself and, just going out for a walk or going for a drive or going to the park to work or something because it feels right, because your sacral says yes, and following it even though it doesn't make sense. So some of those things are just built into simple strategy and authority, but others are going to show you, some of primary shadow pattern can show you what your cure for burnout is. So what's the cause? And it can also give you the prescription. It can also show you where you're probably burning out, or what part of your system is burning you out, or how are you working? Are you a projector and you are showing up and giving all the time and you're not using your energy in a way that's efficient or effective? I have all these gifts and no one's seeing them. So you push and you push and you push and you chase people and you try to be visible and you're doing all these things. I need to be more visible. I need to be more out there. I need to tell people my value. No, not really. That's probably not going to work and you're going to burn out. That's why you're burned out now. Human design gives you a new way to look at yourself. And if you're curious about that, Lindsay White, who was on this show, she talks about that, how she was sort of in that place and she was burned out, and human design, knowing that she was a projector and how she operates, saved her in a lot of ways. And she started to call in these aligned projections when all of the aligned invitations as a projector, when all of the ways that when she was chasing people and she was showing up and creating all these offers and doing all these things. And then all she had to do was make some simple shifts in the way that she approached things, made her feel better, gave her space in her calendar, gave her space in her life, and ultimately built her up, built her confidence, and then people just started to reach out to her. This is the energetic game. This is how you get to make more, work less, okay? It tells you what you sell, what you're meant to sell, and how you sell it. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can only sell the things that are in your chart, but it does let you know what kind of this is sort of something I use in X Factor that kind of pulls together what your selling strategy is, how you will naturally pull people in, what your vibe is, and just kind of what's going to be the easiest for you. And you can start to experiment with it. And most people who do are like, oh, this is just so easy for me. Kim had part of that. That's in her episode as well. And then building your team. Building your team. Who are there are great people out there that could work with you. But are they right for you? Are they right for you? Are they going to plug the holes in your business? Are they going to be the people who are the necessary pieces that your business is missing? Because that's really what you want. Not just task managers. You want people to come in who have the right gifts and the right talents and the right strengths that fill the areas where you are not as strong. You don't need somebody to come in who's just like you. You need somebody to come in who's going to, if you're a projector, you're probably going to want a generator. You're going to want somebody who can do if they're implementing for you. If you're a manifesting generator and you're doing a lot of the work and maybe you have a team already, you might want to bring a projector OBM on, or somebody who's overseeing things for you and can maybe see and have key elements of your chart. There's also something called the Penta, which are key business elements. Also, it's a chart that we run where we are looking at 3 or more people at a go, where there are key energies we're looking for that a business would have, and we're seeing what's missing. So we can see that in the Penta chart, and we can run a chart for multiple team members at a time and pull together what your business Penta looks like. So there are so many practical applications to this system. It's, like I say, it's life-changing, it's business-changing, but I wanted to show you, like, this is what you actually can do with it. And some of these are the results that come from it. Like Lindsay has signed on these aligned clients where she was not doing, like you can listen to her episode, Lindsay White, where she was not anywhere where she wanted to be. She was doing a lot of work and she was feeling bitterness, the not self theme of the projector, which is just like, nobody's seeing me. Why is nobody seeing my gifts? Why am I not making the money? I'm investing all this, and why is nobody seeing me? Why is none of it working? And then she made her shifts, and then suddenly she's getting business from like perfect dream clients. And that's the magic of it. Kim, no clients before she came into my program. And now she's got a whole new business model where she's actually mapping out like probably how, like if she wants to transition from her corporate career into being an entrepreneur full time. She's figuring that out now, but she has a path for it if she chooses it. Now she just has to choose and decide if it's correct for her. She's waiting out her wave. She's going through her process in figuring that out, and we're supporting her in that. That's the difference. And everyone that I work with, gets to the point of this unshakable confidence, which is priceless. So I want you to see this, that was important to me. This was on my heart to share with y'all and to get you to see like what you can do with this information. It's not just information. These are changes that have far-reaching effects. More money, more time, more freedom in your life, greater connections with the people that are all around you, your family, your friends, and the people that you work with, easier attraction for clients. And then you can figure out when you have all of that happening and the energetic game is happening, then you're just turning the dial up and you're making it all get bigger and move faster without you necessarily having to be like, how do I do more? How do I do more? How do I do more? Which is the trap that most of us are in until you start working the energetic game. So I hope you found this useful. I hope you loved the episode. If you did, please send me a DM in Instagram. I'm at Nicole Leno Official. Let me know what you thought of it. Take a little screenshot, throw it into your stories. I would love to see that in there, and I'll share it with my audience as well. I'd love to highlight you there. Remember, the 2 guides are available for you. The contest is available if you leave a review and take a snapshot of the review. Put that in your stories and tag me. You get entered into winning the HD coaching session / reading, whatever you want to do here on the show. I hope you enter that, and I hope I get to meet you there, and I hope I get to hear from you in some way, shape, or form, because I love connecting with you guys. Now, remember, you are only limited by the limitations that you accept. And when you stop accepting those limitations, that is when you become limitless. So go out there and be limitless, everyone. I will see you in the next episode. If you loved this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you want to stay in touch with us, we would love to have you as a part of our Facebook community, Practical Manifestors. It's a community for process-driven women looking for clear and actionable steps to embodying a life of wealth and alignment. Join us at Practical Manifestors in Facebook, or go to www.innerceogroup.com.